Hi, everybody. Remember me? Welcome back down to the B.A.S. Dry Dock. USS Missouri circa 1991 build. Episode 5. How y'all doing? I hope everyone's safe and warm and not skating on roads and, shoveling snow and all that happy crap like we did a week or so ago. I actually had to blow up my driveway. I had 6.5 inches of snow last week. Now it's in the 50s. Only in Minnesota, right? Before we get going on the ship, I got a mail call. A veteran, Navy veteran in the community adds attention to detail. Thanks for the kind words in the back, my friend. It's an honor to have you on my channel. All you military guys. That's, you inspire me to build USN models. Thank you. And we also got a mini-me card. I thought Ernie was going to put a love note on the back of this, but, hey, maybe next time. Anyway, we started the 01 level, and my original thought process was for this episode to do everything on the 01 level before I had to go up one more, or jump to put the bow on. And my plan is I think I'm going to put the bow on. But I had to cut it short. This got to be too long. And I like explaining what I'm doing and what I am seeing. I know some guys get bored with that and whatever, but I also have guys out there that like to see what my thought process is and what I'm going through as I'm building. I don't show a lot of building itself, but I reference the instructions and kind of explain where I'm at, what I'm thinking. If it bores you, I got this little button down here. You can just zip through it, which I'm sure a lot of you do. Anyway, so we didn't get the entire 01 level done, but we got quite a bit of it done. And we'll hit the rest of it in the next episode. So without boring you anymore, let's spin this thing around and show you what we got done. All right, here we go. Starting on the 01 level. There's a lot to go on this thing. The parts that we're going to work on, this is the starboard side. This is the bow. That's the stern back there. So the parts we're going to work on, this guy here sits up here in the back. You have these two guys, this guy, these two parts here, and then in another slide is something called a bulwark, which sits down here a ways. They don't show it in this picture, but I'll show you in the next slide. So, we are not using the kit photo etch. We're using the Infinity photo etch, so these won't be put in. There's stuff to be removed on both C16, C17. There's for the lifeboats, they have photo etch that replaces that, so that has to be put in. These guys hang over a little bit, so when you're thinking about putting the wooden deck in, you might want to leave these out. I'll have to play with the wooden deck and see if I can put that in ahead of time. I'd like to put it in so when you paint this, it's all painted up at the same time. Saves on masking. We'll have to see how this goes as far as painting goes. To glue all this together and set it up here. Yeah. So, I'll take you to the next slide and we'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay, here's those bulwarks I was mentioning. Now on the PE, part of this gets cut off. And where these go, you can see here, like I was talking about, here's that one piece I was mentioning that hangs over, sits here. Well, here's where the bulwark sits. And there's parts of this that get cut off. And I'll show you that slide next. Okay. Here's those bulwarks. And these things get cut off. But you don't want to put those on because, like I was saying, they overhang. And it'll probably interfere with getting the wooden deck on. So now we're working down the port side. We'll do this side first. You got all these hatches have to be added. This is a double hatch. This guy here is where the fuel refueling pod is. It's a little crane and a little hose that coils up and goes out for refueling. This piece has to be added. This piece here has to be added. That guy there has to be added, which I pointed out those two parts a while back. There's a ladder here. This needs to be taken out and replaced. Here's that refueling, how do you want to call it, port, crane. Here's those parts I was talking about that I think are part of the old one level that need to be painted up and put together. There's a lot goes on here. I'm not sure if how much of this I'm gonna put on before I paint it. We'll have to play with that and see. But moving on down the port side, here's that C16 and C17, the ladders that have to be added. None of these ladders will get put on because, as you can see, the wooden deck goes on there first. So all this PE, these bulkheads have to be put in, the portholes drilled out. Here's that piece I was talking about that overhangs a little bit. I'm not sure I'm going to put that in. I'm hoping, like I said, I hope I can, because then I can paint that whole thing all at once. But it's going to be covered by wooden decks, so it really doesn't matter a whole lot. But, anywho, this is where the 5-inch gun sits. Here's where that bulwark sits. So you have all this PE that goes in here. That and this part here sticks out. So you cut all this off, or it's showing to cut that stuff off, and this is what replaces it right here. So you can see that's way more detailed than what the styrene kit has. Another ladder that's not going to get put on right away. None of this handrail is going to get put on right away, obviously. But then you come around. So, let's get after that, and we'll come back when I'll get one side done, and then we'll come back and show you all what's done. Alright, as you saw in the picture on the computer of the area that we are starting to work on, these are the parts. I have not taken the photo etch off yet, but this would be the stern, this would be the bow, so this would be starboard, port, bow, stern. Yeah. Anyway, so there's little things that need to go on here, as you saw on the picture. There's a little bit of a gap that we have to adjust for when we glue these on. If you set these in there right, kind of see that little gap. That's got to get filled. The other thing I noticed was that's off. That's going to have to be sanded so it matches, but there's photo etch that covers this. So that's what we're going to work on, so we'll get started on that next. Alright, okay, here's those C16s and 17s. You can see there's some ladders that are on there and some stairs. They need to be taken off because they get replaced with photo etch. Okay, I have removed the staircase here and the staircase out here and the ladders that were here on, what would that be? That would be the port side. And I have not on the starboard side yet. So I have to get this done, drill out these portholes, then we'll glue these on and move forward. That's all you look if you're not doing a photo etch. And that's what you need to do if you're doing a photo etch. So, get that taken off, get these glued on, and we'll move on. Okay, here we go. this is what it looks like before anything's put on it. I did glue this piece on right here. So, I took off the lifeboat supports. These little guys right here still have to come off. 5-inch gun goes there, 5-inch gun goes there. That's before you put everything on. Then, here we got most everything put on. Starting with this, we'll work our way around. Here's where that refueling crane sits. You come around, and here's that C-17, C-16. Replaced the ladders, took off the stairs that go here and here, drilled out all the portholes, added all the hatches. Okay. Here's that piece that overhangs that I was talking about that I'm not sure if I want to put on or not. And here is where that bulwark sits, right here. I got a little drop down there for that platform that sticks out. And you won't get your wooden deck on there with that in the way. But this overhang piece fits on there. Now it doesn't overhang a lot, but it overhangs enough that I'm not sure if I want to have that on there or not. That may be an after the wooden deck is down, which would mean I would have to tape off the wooden deck or paint this up ahead of time. Most of this is going to get covered up, I would think. But anyway, yeah, that's where we're at. So let's continue on, finish up the other side, and then take it from there. Okay. Once we have primed and painted the main 01 level, then we have to add these two here. So these need to be primed up, painted, glued together, and then once this is all painted, then we can glue this on the back here. Then we can put the wooden decks on and glue this whole thing on the ship. Then we'll move up to the bow. So, let's get that done. Okay, here's the two pieces that sit up here that I was talking about that I think are part of the 01 level. So this will sit down here and here, on here, like so. And then this would go on here like so. Which leads me to think this is all part of that's all part of the 01 level. So if I can get all that put together, set up, painted up, and then put the launchers on here afterwards, yeah, that'll be some significant progress. Don't know if I'll get this part done before I edit, but we'll see how it goes. We need to see what photo etch we may need to add to this before we put it all together. There might be some railing in here, so we'll check that out next. Okay, we got the port side. Checking out, you can see the handrail here. This crane does not hinder us from gluing this in. Neither does this little deck thing here. Nothing over here is stopping us from putting this deck on from this side. So, because there's nothing we really have to add over here. So now let's go check out the starboard side. Okay, now that we have all the bulkheads and along the 01 level on and portholes drilled out, we have to add hatches on this side, right down in there, on this side, right down here, on the 5-inch gun turret boxes, whatever you want to call it, entries into them, I suppose. So So I'll show you what we're dealing with. Okay, you see that head of that pin right there? And you see the 74 and 75 right there, and the 76 and 77. Well, 77 goes on top of the 76, and the 75 goes on top, and the 74 goes on top of the 75. They get glued together, and one set goes on one side, and the other set goes on the other. So yeah, this is the kind of fun we're having on this entire kit. All right, let's get that done, get them glued on, and then we'll double check and see if we can prime this bad boy up. Okay, here's those hatches all cleaned up. I'm going to attempt to glue that on camera. This is take 2. First time didn't go so well. These things are so small, and things like to stick to glue, and glue likes to stick to everything else, and blah 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 blah, and so forth and so on. So, that being said, we shall attempt to give you an idea what is involved in some of the stuff that goes on this ship. So, and how time-consuming it can be. A lot of you guys probably already know, to play with this stuff, and maybe somebody has better ideas on how exactly to do some of this stuff. But for this guy here in this little shop, I'm going to attempt to put a little glue right in the middle. Okay. And then take my trusty wax pencil, get right in the middle of it, and attempt to set this right in the middle which I did not. So, that being said, it needs a little adjusting. So we'll spin this around a little bit, and we'll take something to stop it from moving, and we'll try to adjust it without wrecking it, which didn't go well. It needs to come over just a tad more. There we go. Just like that. Now, hopefully I didn't get myself in the way or too much other stuff in the way, but you let that dry for a little bit. And I was using good old Gator grip glue because it is forgiving. We'll zoom out. We'll zoom out here. Stuff is forgiving, so you can move things around without it sticking like super glue. But it dries pretty hard. So, all right. Now we'll put it on. Okay, we have everything put on, drilled out, and ready for prime. So, although I do have to remove that little nub, but other than that, so she's all ready for prime. Let's see if I can turn this around without knocking it off. Blaze makes himself heard. So, that's done. After we prime this, and there's another part that goes on here before we put it on the ship. And we'll get to that next. Okay, this is the section I was talking about earlier that needs to be put together and glued on. So, we need to start with this piece right here. So I've already glued this on here, and now we need to paint up, prime, paint these different colors, and replace. This does not get painted, the T65, 68, there are wooden deck pieces that go here. So we need to get all this done because this gets sandwiched between this and the O1 level, where we talked about before. So this is what we're going to work on next. Okay, there's the piece we're talking about. I don't know if you can tell, but it's got little lines right on this part of the, which indicates wooden deck, so that's where those go. I've already glued on this little, I don't know, bridge of some sorts. Not sure what it's called. Someone will probably correct me. So now we need to prime this up and paint the different colors and glue on the wooden deck. Come back when we got that done. Okay, here's that piece all put together. Got the wooden decks on, painted up. Windows. Got the handrail on. Yeah, turned out really nice. So now let's get the Tomahawk deck done. Alright. Alright. As you can see, there's the Tomahawk launchers, which we're not putting on. Those have got to go on. We have to take off this little rib that goes on this bad boy. And we have to add a couple pieces of photo etch there. That's probably all I'm going to do for now until later in the build before I put this other stuff on. Just to get this ready. And once this is on the deck and it's all secured on the ship and the from bow to stern is all glued on and everything, then we can start building up. But until then, I'm going to leave that stuff off, but we do have to get this stuff done. So we'll do that next. Okay, there she is. This gets covered by the launchers, but I put a little light coat on there just in case anything would actually show through along the edges of the launchers. But we added our little photo etch here, 2 pieces, square piece, and then a little dot in the middle. That's good. So yeah, it turned out nice all the way around. So we will put this and the other piece on the ship, and we'll give you an idea what it looks like. I still got to paint up the O1 level with the sky gray, but then we'll put these on and, yeah. I'm not going to glue them on, I'm going to set them on, just so you can see what it looks like. Alright, let's do that next. Alright, here's what she looks like on the ship. That's a glaring... That's better. So, the sky gray is painted on all the O1 level. I do not have the bow in, obviously. That'll be after I get done with as much as I can on the midsection here, superstructure section, then I'll do the bow, and then we'll get this all glued down. Anyway, I'm rambling. So we'll give you a little look here, a little closer. Obviously that's not glued in, but yeah, it looks pretty good. So, if you're wondering by some strange reason, I have a 5-inch gun upside down. It's to bring your attention to a little issue. You know something funny there? If that 5-inch gun is supposed to sit on that 5-inch gun mount, there's 2 male parts there. Insert snide comments here. I'll let your imagination go crazy with that. Anyway, so my plan is to take that nub off the mount, sand it smooth, and then make a hole, drill a hole as big as that nub up there, and I might add some styrene rod or brass rod to that, so when I stick it in there it can swivel. So yeah, that's the plan. Next up, I think we're going to call it quits for this episode because it's getting long and I really don't want to have you guys sitting around here for an hour watching this. So what I'm going to do is on the next run, we'll get the wooden decks put on. There's wooden deck that goes there, and there's landings and stairways that go on both sides of the ship that goes in that area. That area underneath that deck has to be painted the same as the surface above it. Around the rings on the mounts, they have to be painted that same color. That spot back there needs to be painted that color. So there's a lot of little things that if I were to keep adding to this would just make this thing way too long. So let's just call it quits, and we'll put that in the next episode. Alright, let's take it back up top. So tell me what you think. I would have thought that veteran models would have realized that it needed a female port on those underneath the 5-inch guns instead of a male port. But that's not the only ship these things go on, so, you know, whatever. But anyway, like I said in the beginning, this was getting way too long, so I had to cut it. So we'll continue on in the next episode, and then we'll move up to the bow, and then we can start doing all the little sub-assemblies that go on top. There's a lot of them, and they're going to be time-consuming because there's, I don't know how much you noticed in the pictures of the Infinity instructions, how much PE is involved in a lot of that stuff, but it's ridiculous. So, thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it. All you new subscribers that have come over and started watching. I'm also on Instagram. If you look up B.A.S. Dry Dock, all one word, small letters, you'll find me. I do updates in between videos on there, so check that out. And I'm kicking around an idea of actually having a Facebook page as well, dedicated specifically to model building, and my channel. But that's down the road. So I've bored you long enough. Thank you very much. Y'all take care. Hope everyone's safe, and we will see you on the next episode.